So again, I am being called to share some information that can help us as we remember who we are. I appreciate you showing up. If you are guided to leave a comment, is most appreciated as I can resonate most clearly with the collective that is receiving these messages um, with your comments. It doesn't have to be personal, just any old comment will do, and I'll pick up on the energies. Uh, I have been grounding light and love in a communal sense as I travel around the United States in different areas. Um, Deserts, mountains, oceans, yeah, rivers, just the most beautiful country and bringing um, light and love for each I am willing to receive. So our capacity to reach more people in this way because the sensitivities of our biology is shifting due to our connection to Gaia and Gaia's access also has been refining due to astrological influences, including the sun. There's so many things going on, and my perception of it is very sentient. I and that's what I'm sharing is how to feel through this. How to feel more through this? How human beings are sentient more than intellectual. And how do we get into that heart language? Where's that coherence? How is it that we can drop down out of our head more frequently until the communication between the pineal gland and the heart and the higher heart thymus gland are in coherence? Yeah, yeah. So that's my work, been my work, and it is, we're not done. I'm not done. Definitely not done. um, but that's the beauty of this incarnation is that we have access now, in a way that has never been before. And that's thrilling to be part of this process for Gaia, for humanity, for all living creatures on the planet, and for the multiverse. We are um, in that plasma consciousness where energetically we ripple. We just ripple throughout the universe. There is no separation. And I'm beginning to feel and beginning to understand this, and I am grateful. So, um, there's a card reading that's coming through. I use my own deck. I will possibly make this available to others in the coming year. Um, right now, it's a creative space that I accessed many years ago, and I've been working with these cards more than a decade now. So the imagery and the messages come through exceedingly quickly, and very, very clear. The first refinement or memory that would like to come through as general focus right now. We are in, we got like one foot in one place, one kind of life and focus where we're still, um, working at our job that we may or may not really align with. We're still, a little pressured by um, financial worries or possible concerns for social and moral issues. And then on the other side of things, if you create time for it, you have this alignment that we're nurturing. And in that alignment, there's a completely um, like a do-over button that gets pressed where those concerns melt away and all is well. And my my proclivity for one when when my kids were little and I kept saying to them, "Don't worry, this is all going to have to fall apart." That sounds like doomsday, really, now that I look back on it and possibly scared them. But I've been saying this for decades where the only way through this is to bring it down. And that's all the institutions, all the government, all the financial systems, all the religions. Everything was created in the sense of separation and safety over freedom. One of the reasons that I understand the safety over freedom aspect of the control is when I left New York in the van and I realized that's what I was doing. I was staying still in that one place because I was afraid. And when I left and had to let go of that to trust, it opened up a whole new world, a whole new world. And now I am sure I am safe, but I am also free. And that combination is worth all the instability I went through. I am eternally grateful for these experiences. So, how is it in your daily life, in your job, can we create the, the words that support the freedom? So, here we are with one foot in one world, one foot in another world, still trying to function um, in the way that's being asked of us, but with a higher intention. So here I am with my Virgo midheaven, bringing all of this um, spiritual fluffiness into a grounded practice. What is it that we can do to help bring these two worlds together? Very simply, and maybe not so simple, is the words we say. Being conscious of how we're painting the picture of our day with these words. Every interaction, there was a man who came into the vegetable store where I was shopping last week, and all he kept saying was how terrible it was that farmers had to work the way they did, and how terrible it was that the watermelon was $12, and 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 it was so awful. And it was a beautiful store, and it had a lot of wonderful things, and the prices were very reasonable in comparison to a lot of the bigger stores there. I was supporting a small local shop, and I I left. I couldn't stand being with this person. So how can you, in your daily life, I mean, I could have stood there and maybe even talked to him about, shifting his perspective. Obviously, too tired to do that day. But yeah, there are a lot of different ways to interact with this kind of negativity and perspective. But how are you in your life, even in your own head? You don't even have to say this out loud, saying things that may be detrimental to your energies and not in coherence with your heart, not in coherence with the value of your perception and how with these words you create this vibration that you're giving to Gaia. And that's where the synergy has so much weight and value, where Gaia is moving through and she needs our information. We are like filaments on her body that inform her of what needs to happen in the environment. We gather information and then in meditation give it, ground it for Gaia. We are a tool. We are a functioning sentient um, library of information. We're gathering information all the time. This gathering has everything to do with our language. I would I eventually see that humans are not going to need language, because we are going to be so sentient all the time that their language is a watered down version of our sentience. Um, Words don't ever get close enough to the full feeling or explanation or multifaceted um, version of our perceptions. Uh, Even the most poetic and talented writers can only convey a certain number of perceptions in any given time, whereas energetically, our language is full and complete. So, yeah, I eventually see us being completely sentient um, with our communication and our interaction. But here in our transition, the refinement of our words really fine tunes our own perception so that we can be a clear conduit for the information. And when we're in alignment and we're giving information from that heart space, we're informing Gaia that this is the beautiful, heart coherent, um, generous, compassionate space that matches her heart. And she can continue to open and make herself available, and vice versa. Right. Um, I'm moving on to the next card. Just give me a second with my information coming in here. There is everything about this process that will show itself in reflection of the body's vitality, the body being joyful, resting well, coming back into energy when you need it. Um, of course, being intuitively sensitive, really listening to the body and where it needs nurturing. During these transitions, we are changing our body format. So maybe the same foods that you were eating before aren't a match, and to be very aware of how the body is interacting, not only in environment. I mean, food is environment. So, yeah, include food in the environment of your interaction. Don't just habitually eat at times of the day. Check in. Are you even hungry? Is this food the one that will bring you the most vitality? Maybe it's you packed it in the morning and you were like you thought you wanted a sandwich, but middle of the day you decided you want some fruit. Um, it's the listening that brings the vitality. So as we go through this process, not only are we super compassionate um, and holding space for broader perspective in our day, using our language to reflect a heart coherence, We are now integrating all of this into our intimate relationship with our body and our body functions, not in a place of dictating what is should or shouldn't happen, because this is not a scientific or nutritional value to caring for the body. It is a listening space where you start to, well, I feel like most people just ignore it, or take a medicine or something just to be like, I just want to feel better right now, right? So if you take an antacid if you're having y- acid reflux, or all those wonderful over-the-counter things, or maybe even an herbal tea. You're like, oh, I think I need an herbal tea to take care of this. What else is your body saying to you if this is a constant state of distress in the body? It doesn't even have to be conscious. It could just be right then and there. Something's being said to you. How do you refine listening and your response to it? The more you are responding, the body will realize that you're listening. And then so the communication streamlines the more you practice. And this goes along with the same idea of learning how to meditate. The more you do it, the more it's like strengthening a muscle when you're doing exercise. You have to figure out your own language. Even your guides and your your helpers from the etheric realm, um, they don't know how to communicate with you right off the bat either. And maybe that's why they keep putting, that nickel on your in various counters in your house, because that's the way they know, they're there. If you want more communication, you're going to have to refine that from this side and explain to them, this is how I want to know you're here. So if you want to shift it up, you say, I would like you to, make me aware of time on a clock. I want the numbers 1, 2, 3. Um, or numbers 1, 2, 3 in, on license plates or other various places in your life coming up. Then you will know by your dictation that the communication's actually happening, and you can refine that even more and more until it becomes more fluid. It's like baby steps into a muscle that's just underdeveloped because it's there. We have it mapped into our DNA. We just need to flip the switch on that, um, and practice. So, this is the same information that's coming through about your health and vitality. This is something to practice, not ignore, not just medicate, but find out why or what's going on. Um, there's something I do called a walkabout, where we go through the body and uncover areas that have a story to say, and how can we be receptive to understanding why these areas of the body have packed away some event in the life, because we were unable to really function during the time, and manage the trauma or drama, and we ended up just putting it in a file in our body because we are the librarians. And how do we access that and give it back to Gaia so that we can clear it and she can have the information? Um, these are tools that we have that we can develop. The final card that I pulled is mo- the, it's like the cherry on the top of the reading. With all of this information that's coming through, the gift at the kernel of this is really your connection to yourself, to your real self, to your essential self, to the spirit or soul, the human soul inside this experience. I There are many people I have met who have many influences within their experience, to help guide the soul. And right now, the soul, our human soul, is asking for sovereignty. And this is how we create that language for our body and our soul to have this connection to Gaia, because that trinity, right? We have soul, body, and Mother Gaia is the sacred map for our development and our movement forward. Our human soul is requiring right now that we say thank you and have much appreciation for our helpers and guides, but start to stand within our own energies and really develop each one and their abilities to be sensitive and receptive to their own experience. In in many ways we think this is trivial. Oh, I'm not important. What about my day makes any difference to anybody else? Kind of, we dismiss our body ache, right? By taking our medication, just kind of going, I guess I'll just take an antacid. We dismiss our mental health and our joy by saying, oh, I'm just, having a bad day. It's time to stop dismissing all of that and really go inside and attend to these things. How many times you're like, oh, I just want to feel better. Let me go out and get a drink and, hang out at a bar or dance or go dance. The dancing, I'm not saying dancing, of course, is that's a wonderful expression of body health and vitality. It is the combination of the inebriation or the drug use to think that we need that to feel better. Whereas the enormous amount of joy and vitality that's within our body that we have locked down and refuse access by truncating this communication we have, that's that's the that's the lock that needs to be unlocked. That's the part of us that we're working towards accessing. And it has everything to do with how our DNA has held these access points in like a frozen treasure chest of information. But right now we can get there. We absolutely can. And the work is to getting there daily, often in the day. And how much joy can be released in the job that maybe isn't your favorite, but you can be joyful in your activities. You can be joyful in doing your dishes. It's fine. It's part of taking care of the body. Where's the joy? How to stop distracting yourself with all the incoming information and resonate with your process within your body. This will also help with all the information and the breakdown of the institutions, because that might feel unsafe. That might feel, that might trigger a lot of fear. But the way through this kind of transition is an internal event where you're locking into your sovereignty so strongly that you know that you're safe, even if everything else around you slides and slips and just crumbles. And we get to enjoy the process and celebrate the freedom that is ours now and for all of humanity. I am so grateful to have done this reading for myself because now I'm very keyed in and feeling effervescent and knowing the truth of our success, of our freedom, of our sovereignty as something that I've dreamt about for lifetimes and and working towards our own memory, unlocking who we really are and finding the strength in the knowing, the real knowing, the reveal. It is a gift, as uncomfortable as it might seem at first. And as these things revealed, check into the body. How is my body feeling with this? And what practices can you do to help ease these transitions? Um, there's so many, and I'm not about to list them all just because everybody's an individual. And how do you make your body feel better? You know, maybe you're taking a bath, all that stuff, yoga, run, I don't know, bike ride, go to nature. Um, anyway, I wish you all an absolutely brilliant day, and we're doing it. We're doing it right now, and this is an insanely gorgeous time to be alive. Please leave a comment. Let's let's open up this collective to individual heart space so that I can refine the messages to reflect the collective. Love you all. Thank you.